lang. Sandaan. Kasi mo. Kasi ako sa
Mr. Romer Hood. Mr. Jake Kasanaan, Mrs. Sharon Kasanaan. Mr. Jaguar Magandang, Mrs. Zara Magandang. Pastora Nadine Gemma Eustachio. Mr. Vicente Bacus, Mrs. Nida Bacus. Mr. Rodito Lune, Mrs. Donna Vernon. Mr. Jenny Granong, Mrs. Rose Jean Reynolds. Mr. Marlo Malupay, Mrs. Virginia Manila. Mr. Michael Makilang, Mrs. Cecil Lugo. Mr. Wardo Alzado, Mrs. Anita Pineda. Mr. Benvenido Lizario, Mrs. Maribel Adjun. Mr. Velior Manto, Mrs. Marisa Blanza. Mr. Junric Mautas, Mrs. Maria Loida Villarreal. Mr. Romeo Magdong, Mrs. Felisa Rose. Mr. Contesiano Medino, Mrs. Casimira Flores. Mr. Felicissimo Mainopas Jr., Mrs. Ella Pino. Mr. Joseph Pangalin, Mrs. Leonor Andino. Mr. Agustino Lanos, Mrs. Merlinda Hemetiza. Mr. Eduardo Coranes, Mrs. Alma Lumay. Mr. Arnold Ampan, Mrs. Evangeline Coranes. Mr. Jose Barbariga, Mrs. Dina Ado. Mr. Ladi Dumala, Mrs. Mary Jane Ruiz. Mr. Pio Corrales, Mrs. Chef Estanion. Mr. Efren and Anisa, Mrs. Marinda Carlo. Mr. Albert Piñafel, Mrs. Marita Palo. And Mrs. Malot Calipis. And now, to bind them together, our board sponsors, Mr. Richard Handayan and Mrs. Melody Handayan. To clothe them together, our lead sponsors are Mr. Michael Cavite and Mrs. Stephanie Cavite. To bring forth the candle to you, our candle sponsors, Mr. Pio Corrales and Mrs. Beautymer Corrales. And now, let us welcome the best man, Mr. Rinaldo Jumani. To be followed by the groom's source of love, the groom's parents, Mr. Rolando and Mrs. Vilma Maongos. All eyes on the aisle as we welcome the man of this ceremony, the groom, Mr. Jumar. Our dashing and gorgeous groomsmen and bridesmaids. We have Bonmar Maubas, Leandre Busca, Crisanta del Campo, Joyce Nanduyan, DJ Kahilo, Mary Joy Aviola, J.M. Gabriel Gonzaga, and Eden May Correa. And the maid of honor that bears the responsibility of assisting the bride, we have Miss Christine Denau. Following are our bearers, Xander Corrales, Justin Corrales, and EJ Navarro. To fill the aisle with petals that symbolizes the vibrancy of this love and marriage.
The same table and break bread together. The bread represents the body of the Lord, which is given for both of you Do this as often, do this as often as you can and remember. The years of your lives are as a cup of wine poured out for us to drink. As grapes when they are pressed give forth their juices for the wine. So under the wine press of time, your at this point of time, exchanging of love. Ito yung hindi mo tanong pero nagibutan din pero gusto na ko. Mas tayo itong sikat sa kapasikas. Kung sa gira sa ganang abot, in-invite na ako gano'n mga witness ba? Sige, go.
Mga padugo dito sa Ginoo. Nakita gyud nato sa iya. Ibe siya gigamit din sa Ginoo. Ako pud mo sa ginako Ginoo. But anong daw isa mo ang mo sa mo ang pag-uban is kanang wala ko nag-expect na among ugma is makita ang akong ginapangita ng babae is nakita ko sa inyo. That's why kaning bawo is mag-remind sa mga malingon na igumahon ka, respeto ka, suportahan ka, even sa spiritual growth, even know, with love and compassion, even sa imong devotion diya sa Ginoo. Love, hand, sukat siya ng adlaw no. Yes. Makauban na kita ka. I love you.
I'm so grateful na natagal ko sa Ginoo ang man of God. Lately, 4 years ago, I desired na one day, kasama ko na naa sa Ginoo. But wala ko nag-expect na kanila ko day nga man, nga barkada na ko, na naa ko day sa Ginoo, makita pag yun. Nagpasalamat ko sa Ginoo. I'm so grateful. Muna nga, perminting ko nagaday sa Ginoo kay tuhod. Kani nga man, nakita na ko akong pagalingon at first, o kanang salamat ka. Salamat kay nakita na ko tanang effort.
To self-important covenants. The ring is a circle having no repeat after me, John Mark. I place this ring on your finger as a token and memorial that I have taken you as my wedded wife, as a symbol of my never-ending love. I place this ring on your finger as a token and memorial. I have taken you as my wedded husband, as a symbol of my never-ending love.
Never.
From this day forth, I am not newlywed couple. Wala pa lang sisa na rin. Sige, prepare na ng camera. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go! Sa camera! Anak sir! Hey! Oh! Energy! Sayaw! Hey! 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 Sayaw pa Joy! Anak siya sayawin! Tunal! Tunal pa Josel! Alright! There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mr. and Mrs. Paumbas. And now, I would like also to introduce the parents of the bride. Give it up for Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo and Jocelyn. Sayang ha! Clap, clap. Clap. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, isang palakpak naman dyan for Mr. and Mrs. Chavalor. O, standby. Sayaw! Hey! Tunan! Ang mulak-mulak! Wala kayo umasan sa New Year! Alright, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Town, parents of the bride. And also this afternoon, I would like also to acknowledge the presence of our principal sponsors, Ninans. Tindog mga Ninans. Gusto na ako nga naamoy participation this afternoon. Tindog mga Ninans! And DJ! Shanice, and now, music DJ. Oh, it's a prank.